Okay.
Yeah.
So we, hold on, let me,
Well,
okay, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna apologize for not checking my setting because we did have a lively discussion, but you know, with technology, I changed my laptops and I didn't check my settings, so I do
Yeah.
apologize for any inconvenience. No one accepts.
Oh, no, you're fine. Yes, we accept your apology.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you was
Y'all left.
talking to Dr. Whitaker, so I was like, okay, so she didn't get that message. Okay, yeah, we accept your apology.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Sorry. So do y'all want to just read a scenario and just talk about one, like we just read one of them?
Okay.
Yeah, the one, you want me to start with the one that rang most, or you want to go?
It's high. It's so
The Okay. Role play 7.1, practicing director control behaviors, wherein the teacher was overheard yelling at students, trying to gain control of the class. Quiet down, go to your seats, escalated to shut up, quit acting like morons, that type of thing. And so the students were given contradictory messages. And so then pretty much I said that rang true because I see that most on a daily basis, particularly with one classroom. And the administrator has had several conversations with the teacher. What have he done since the last discussion? What has changed? Referred to universal rules, PBIS matrix, and all of that. So we're questioning the planning, writing explicit lesson plans, but then not executing them properly. And so it was like, how are you going to hook the students when they first come to your classroom? What are you going to do to gain their attention? So
one of the, like as we were saying before, a hook that I use in my class is when the kids come in to get them to help with the transition, they have to do 10 minutes of keyboarding, because one of the things that our kids lack, they want to poke around the keyboard instead of actually learning the home row key and actually using the keyboard like it's supposed to be used. That's one of the hooks that we use. And as far as a lot of teachers are frustrated in the beginning, especially when we talked about classroom management. That can
right.
play a factor into the teacher not being able to control the class.
Okay. And one suggestion that we had made, with it being a music class, to try to have some transitional music, something going on when they first come to the door to capture their attention.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pam.
And that's what I was saying from the last meeting that we said, I think I'm going to give them some time to adjust from the transition period because they're so hyper when they come in. Give them that few minutes to put the book backpacks away, sit down, come in, get some of that energy out, and then maybe instruction can begin without too much, sit down, be quiet, hush up type thing going on, and still me gaining control of them without having any kind of negative feedback going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and as far as like reflection, I did notice that the administrator, when he saw the teacher, because something may have been going on with the teacher as well, to have to step back and reflect, investigate the situation a little further before just jumping to a conclusion. Step away sometimes and reflect on the entire situation.
And I was wondering if he was, because they said being that if the principal has, the administrator has to use the directive, that authoritative, as I call it, the authoritative directive, then maybe he is at a lower level. Because sometimes I think it's saying, okay, they both should be on the same academic level, or the same kind of higher
Mhm.
understanding or achievement level. Maybe he isn't. And maybe that's
Right.
why she is approaching him with that type of directive.
Mhm.
Maybe that one is going to work better with him because maybe this man is not on that same scale as she is,
Mhm.
or as the other teachers. Because I guess you've got to know your employers and you've got to know what they're capable of. And if he's not on that same level, then you're going to have to approach him with authority, or maybe he's going to get aggressive. Maybe that's why he's aggressive, is because he hasn't quite reached that plateau yet where she's at
Mhm.
with tolerance and the skills that he needs to manage his classroom.
Okay. Well,
As a I will reflect on what we talked about previously. In our first video, we talked heavily about how we can actually, I say, differentiate instruction so that we can hit all, so that we can reach all ethnicity or races, like the Hispanic group, the African American group, the Caucasian group, and how we can actually create lessons that will gear or have something set in place for those students who are struggling.
Yeah, and we did talk about that, embracing their cultures. Like for me, I don't know a whole lot about the Hispanic culture, but I do have a wonderful ESL coach who does. And when I get into a spot with my students that, like my Latino students, he is a great resource to have in that room that I can use daily to help me overcome some of the areas that otherwise would probably become problematic for me. Unlike that, what is it, scenario number 3, I think it is, where she's noticing that the ethnicity of the school is going more toward ethnic and a lot less toward what she was accustomed to. And sometimes you don't know how to deal with it, for lack of a better word. You've got to educate yourself, and you've got to, because your administrator isn't really going to be hearing that. And with a person like that, I'm thinking, well, she's not uneducated.
Right.
Maybe she doesn't need as harsh a directive as, say, the first one is with that one. Maybe she doesn't need that direct control, but maybe she needs more of that collaborative, where the two of them she and the administrator need to work together to collaborate, so she can kind of say, okay, I know I don't know all that I need to know about these cultures, but can we, you have knowledge on this topic, I have some knowledge on this topic, maybe we can collaborate together, and my administrator can help me get to the point where I would be more like non-directive, where she doesn't have to direct me how to deal with this situation. That one was more like what I was thinking about for that particular one. And then back to the one that Angela was talking about, that gentleman definitely needed direct control, because I don't think he was, I think the principal, the problem is the teacher. I don't think the problem was it was just him and what his management skills and his everything. So she had to come at him with that directive type approach, advisory approach.
And we also mentioned the directive informational behaviors, because we brought in the fact that where you were mentioning the Hispanic students more at your school, I was saying that we have now more of a Jamaican influence, because we have 7 Jamaican teachers, and it's not that they, it's more or less the dialect, and some of the parents had raised issue that the students were not really understanding what was said, but it was more of a culture shock for them coming in and not realizing how the students approach adults over here. They're just not used to that. And so I think they're really trying to educate like the whole child, letting them know that there are certain things, behaviors that's just not that are unacceptable. and they're really trying to give them lifelong lessons. So I have seen a change with that, and the situation that I mentioned is not really with one of my the Jamaican teachers, because their classroom management skills, I've seen that they're heightened, because of what they're used to over there. So I think it's more of just a culture shock both ways, for them, and then for the students to learn from them as well, even with vocabulary and teaching them the way things are done over in Jamaica.
We have two Jamaican teachers this year as well on board, a fifth grade, and we did get a lot of the principal, the administrators, sitting on the committee. I was listening to a lot of the parents' complaints about that language barrier, because she talks too fast, they don't understand the instruction.
Right.
She instructs a little bit different, and her classroom management skills, they leave a lot to be desired. She's not aggressive. Don't get me wrong. She's the total opposite of this gentleman. No control, because they are just out of control. And the principal has to constantly stay down there. And I go over there a lot too, because I'm in that 5th, 6th grade hall over there. And they're so loud, I have to go in there and say, hey, but she doesn't take offense to it. So I'm thinking with her, that's another one that has to have direct control. With her, I don't think it's going to be a non-directive or a collaborative or even direct informational. She doesn't get upset. She's very, very passive. And the kids are just, I mean, whoa.
They picked up on that. Yeah,
yes,
they really picked up on it.
And I'm like, y'all know better than this. Come on. And she'll be like, she's thankful, very thankful for you coming in there. But after a while, the administrator was like, Miss Smith, you got your own classroom that you got to deal with.
Right.
You can't be coming over here. I said, the reason I come over here is because it's just that loud.
Yeah.
With my door closed, literally. I mean, it sounds like they're in there having happy hour or something, It's just that chaotic in there. And I'm like, somebody's got to go over there and say something.
And I think teachers appreciate that more when they see someone else recognizing that they're struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they really appreciate that.
Because they're very good teachers. I know they are. It's just that I think there's might be a culture barrier there, because they're very, very passive. They're very passive. And I was like, okay, with these group, you're gonna have to step it up a little.
Yeah.
A little bit authoritative. And maybe, go over some of those them kids know the expectations. They're 6th graders. They know what they're supposed to be doing. They know about PBI. We spent 2 whole weeks on just them, what we expect from them and their behavior. They're trying to get away with stuff. And their parents, well, that's another can of worms.
Yeah. And we did talk, where you said, Pam, the behaviors, we did mention earlier about the ISS, and then the using AID online system.
I don't see the purpose of ISS. I mean, I know it serves a purpose, but as far as instruction, the kids are missing it. They're missing a whole, literally they start acting up at 7:45. They're in ISS by 8. Yeah, and they're rewarding them. And then they're not going to do the work in there because she's one person. So I went and got mine. I go get mine. You're not getting no ISS. You're going to get it in here with me. Oh, they don't want to do that. Bring them on down here. You're going to do what you're supposed to do. And you're going to get them service minutes.
That's right.
But then they're like, okay, all right, so she's going to come get me. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, go lay down in your bed.
And I am directed. I am a direct control person.
I'm go in your bed.
Oh, I know I'm going to be that type of principal where I think, depending on where I land, if I land anywhere here in the South, I'm thinking direct control is going to be a big thing. Unless I get a sharp group of teachers that we can all do the non-direct, where they
Mhm.
know their thing, and all I got to go in there and say is, hey, are you covering AB? Are you covering instruction? Are you following the standards? Is lesson plan relevant? You know, do these kids know the procedures and the rules and what's expected of them? And other than that, I would love to have a group of teachers that were like that, because then that makes your job easier.
Yeah.
Now,
You
just
know
gotta-
that's not gonna happen.
I know.
You know.
It's not. I never get a group just like I'm at right now.
Exactly.
I would be considered a Tilda Hun. As they call me Cruella DeVille to have my back at school.
Really?
Oh yeah, they call me Cruella DeVille.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
But I laugh. I mean, I'm not Cruella. I'll say I'm not that bad. You know.
Right.
But I am a little strict, and that comes from my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You have to be.
And
You have to be when you want the best for them and out of them.
I
Yeah.
told them I'm just not that be your buddy type teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll laugh with you every now and then, but 98% of the time, I'm your teacher. You know, I'll give you a hug, I'll give you a tissue if you need it, but you know, I'll give you a discipline notice if you need it to. And I'm still gonna love you the next day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
All right.
This has
I'm
been a great recap of our almost hour-long meeting before.
right.
But it was it was nice meeting you all and working with you. And I
Right.
wish you the best.
And same here.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I will be I'm going to upload it to YouTube, and then I'll send you all the link.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Y'all have a great night.
Have a good
You too.
night.
Bye-bye.
ladies.
All right.